Well, this is the English version of what I was saying in Spanish about these soccer matches Guatemala is having lately. So I wanted to record this audio, but because there was a lot of noise, but I couldn't because there was a lot of unusual noise. So I had to do it to post it as a comment. It seems strange to me that a Guatemalan player was able to get a new contract in a foreign league, and also that they entered a beach soccer World Cup. I'm posting, I'm posting all of this, even with the medal, because even with the medal, the gold medal, the golden medal they won at the Olympic Games. It seems strange to me that after, for example, when they made me leave Guatemala undocumented, they made threats of death to me in Tijuana. I remember that they mentioned something about a, a golden medal to me during all these things were happening when they made me leave Guatemala. Also, when they made threats of death to me in Tijuana, I remember that people who came to the corner of the block where I was renting in Tijuana, Colonia Castillo, eh, Castillo neighborhood, Colonia Castillo, they said they weren't going to do anything to the goose that lays the golden eggs. I think they were talking about. Do you know why? And if you realize many things like crossing the Mexico US border illegally is a big lie because if you arrive undocumented, you are not allowed to get a job. Also, why should there be deportation rates when there is a database in every embassy and consulate? Well, something I've realized since returning to Guatemala is that they only try to use you for being a relative of a migrant and the possibility of being petitioned. I heard someone was talking out loud. It's something that's been happening ever since I was at the Mexico US border. I remember it happened when I was in the desert, when I was trying to cross the desert at the Mexico US border. Oí que alguien estaba hablando y en voz alta. Recuerdo que eso pasó en el desierto en la frontera México-Estados Unidos. In addition to the fact that in California they didn't let me to stay because I arrived undocumented without a passport. I was able to find out that one of the directors of the Olympic Games is from California. I think that's why they were talking about golden medals and all that stuff here in Guatemala when this thing that they made me leave Guatemala started to happen. For They did that because I was able to get American papers through being petitioned. Not knowing the whole situation, not knowing the whole situation, I thought it was just a joke or a way of letting me know they they would act as it was just a joke that we made here leave Guatemala. That's why they hurt me. Uh, these are things that I'm just guessing. Seems like it's the truth. Like they had to hurt me to know that what was happening was real. because they would only try to make it look like we were just playing jokes, and we did that because uh, we wanted you to behave well. So this is the truth. Just a second. Since I returned to Guatemala, they've put me through all sorts of tests. Like, just a second. Since I returned to Guatemala, they've put me through all sorts of tests, like not having a job and making it look like I'm going out to steal when I'm not. I don't I don't know what kind of witchcraft they did to me even before they made me leave Guatemala, but with some people I felt the urge to take whatever they have in their hands even though I'm not even thinking about it. It doesn't happen with everyone, just some. There have been people who have expensive things, and that doesn't happen. I don't understand why they would go through all the trouble when they've even caused the deaths of migrants' relatives with witchcraft. In fact, it happened this week that I couldn't get a job. Well, that week when I was writing all of this, luckily I didn't have a lot of money. The same situation I've been facing, yeah, since I returned to Guatemala. So uh, I even had to go to sleep that night without having lunch or dinner. And the police even passed by. They drove by in front where I went to sit for a while, for a moment, after I went to look for a job as a security guard. They drove past in front where I was at if and they were acting as if I meant to do something wrong and I wasn't even thinking about it. So uh, they denied me work because they had used witchcraft. It happened before I was forced to leave Guatemala. They used witchcraft on me to make me have problems with alcoholism and drug addiction, and have problems with drug addiction. But I've been sober for 4 years, and I'm currently studying. So it seems like just a sec. Okay. Even on weekends and Saturdays. Okay. It seems like I'm treated like a prisoner, even though they showed me that they used witchcraft on me to make me have problems with alcoholism and drugs. So it's not like we're misbehaving. It's not that. It's about the American papers you may have, even if you are not interested into that. There are people who want to live in Guatemala and they try to look you like you're in my way to go to the US. You can go to the American embassy, try to apply for an American visa, and take a flight to the US. That's the correct way. I don't have anything to do with immigration. So this is part of all these games. Uh, that's why they did it. Like we're gonna mess with you because you were doing drugs, you were having problems with alcoholism. I know we're doing that with witchcraft, but we're gonna act like it's your decision. It was your choice, and that's why we have to mess with you because you see. I have relatives who went to the college, relatives who have a years of experience at any kind of job they had. So you're in our way. That's not how things work. And I never agreed to be part of this game. And even if I mistakenly agreed, you're not gonna use me to go to the US. The only way you can go to the US is going to the US embassy, apply for an American visa, and go to the US if they allow you to have an American visa. Otherwise, you should stay here in Guatemala and do what all Guatemalans do. That includes me as Guatemalan, trying to reach your goals in life here in Guatemala, working and studying here in Guatemala. Because they're trying to make it look like we have how do they call it? A patrimony with illegal immigration, and you're getting in our ways. That patrimony turns out that the relatives of the migrants who died because of the witchcraft, I don't know if those were Mexicans or Guatemalans, they shouldn't die. They shouldn't die. So what patrimony are you talking about? They even they even hurt me when they made me leave Guatemala, so I don't know what patrimony you were talking about. By the way, there were people like trying to mess with me when I was recording, and I left it in the Spanish version of this audio. Because something else I realized, there were indigenous people sat in front of me, acting as if they have an opinion. What have you done for Guatemala to think you have an opinion? And even people from Mexico, US, who come here to keep an eye on me, what have you done for, I don't know, for US to think that you have an opinion? Just because you immigrated? I don't know if they are recording what I'm saying. There was a guy with a camera, I don't care. So, yeah, just because you worked in the US, you are over 20 years old. You have to get a job. So you haven't done anything amazing for the US to think that you can come to my country, Guatemala, and act as if I think that you shouldn't have American papers for being petitioned. That I don't care about these American papers. I know what they're gonna try to do. Try to do witchcraft again to me because I don't practice witchcraft. So I didn't have any means to prove that they are doing witchcraft to me. I'm telling the truth. Otherwise I wouldn't be talking about it. You see? So just a second. So that's why I'm not interested, because whatever happens later by winning those American papers, it'd be a situation I'd have to deal with. I'm not interested in doing drugs. I'm not interested in getting drunk. I can use that time. I'm talking about time, like doing my laundry, like learning languages. That's something that I'm passionate about. I don't know, like take any kind of course, like learning to cook, stuff like that. That's why they do that. At least here in Guatemala, and I think it's the same thing in Mexico and the US, that they do witchcraft to you in order for you that you have problems with alcoholism and drug addiction, so that you can waste that time, not taking advantage of that time to learn more working skills. You see? So Uh, that's the truth. Uh, so I'm gonna continue reading what I was reading. So uh, in conclusion, the thing is that it's not if you're misbehaving, if you are behaving well, it's the people's what they don't want you to have. You see, so they're like trying to find an excuse to mess with you in order for you not to have those papers because they create the situation. You only have a choice, white or black, in but they create the situation. So they can create a situation where the only option left you have is to get drunk to show that you're not interested in having US papers. Why? Because they're gonna mess with you. Something that happens when you have problems with alcoholism, there are people who out of nowhere they don't like you and they try to mess with you. You know what I mean with that. Hmm? So they can create the situation. That's how they create the labyrinth, the maze. Like, um, we have already created the scenario, and you only have two choices: get drunk or not to get drunk. But we want you to have US papers because we got you into this game so that others, after you accept those American papers, can have those American papers too and have something like, I don't know, like a secret society or something like that because they think they're an authority just because they practice witchcraft and they try to decide who should get married, who shouldn't get married, who should continue their studies, who shouldn't continue their studies. That's the truth. At least when it comes to me, I would have learned a lot of things like driving a vehicle, like driving a motorcycle, but I just didn't have the chance, the opportunity. And then they are regretting in the news the situation of the country when they have created all these situations. So, switching back, going back to what I was saying, even on the weekends and Saturdays, it it's happened to me since I was a teenager that men in Guatemala have used witchcraft, so I can see, so I see their legs. Let's say like a soccer player, people who go to have these soccer matches on a Saturday. Out of nowhere, I was feeling like I like it. I like his legs and stuff like that. And I thought it was me, but since I was undocumented in Mexico and in the United States, there are Mexicans who have come here to Guatemala and they showed me that it's a kind of spell, witchcraft, charm. I don't know what it is. But the thing is that I remember I was having a conversation with someone, and there was an American guy walking past in front, and I tried to ignore him, and I felt like something made me turn back and look at him. That's how I knew it was witchcraft. So most of the times there are people who go on weekends to have these soccer games in here in Guatemala. And at the beginning, it was like maybe because my legs are not that muscle, but it wasn't that. The thing is that they try to make you feel embarrassed about it. So something else that happens is that it turns out that Mexicans have come to keep an eye on me in Guatemala and have shown me that. That's what I just said. And if I don't want to see them, they made some witchcraft that even if I try to ignore it, or they use witchcraft on me so that I see their legs. The same thing has also happened to me with minors. Something else that's been happening, like there are minors walking and passing in front of me. Most of the times when I go out, I try to have the necessary time. So I'm in a hurry always when I'm going to work or when I'm coming back from work because uh, sometimes I'm hungry or I have homework to do. And there are minors, underage children, might say it, um, who I feel that attraction. And I don't know what witchcraft they have been using lately. Like something I'm not thinking about crosses my mind, like touching children. Like it's not me. What's going on? I think they call it delirium or something like that. I'm not sure. So the worst thing is that they don't talk about it when they are preaching things about the Bible. So you might imagine ignorance is something that I said in English and the Spanish version of this audio. It's like they want to get me into this game and they're keeping an eye on me. Like he's the one who's talking about all this situation. It's true what I'm saying. But we want you into that game because in that game we can have the control or we can have some recognition. Just a second. We can have recognition about this for this game we got you into. So, no, I can't believe all of this. It's like they're always saying when they walk past in front of my house, we don't want him to. They don't want him to look good, because it's like you look, you look bad, we look good, and vice versa. So I can't believe all of this. And the worst thing is that they even hurt me to make me leave Guatemala. And also they caused the death of my grandma, my mom, and an uncle from my mom's family. So I think all of this is part of the game that got me into because of a song. I think all of this is part of the game that got me into because of a song of a Mexican singer, Gloria Trevi. She uh, she talks about psychiatrist in that song. Yeah, she says, "Don't look at my legs now," and stuff like that. So just a second. So I'm gonna make it quick because they're trying to. I'm gonna do it quick because they're trying to interrupt me. Well, it seems like it seems that these games they try to in these games they try to use something you like or feel attracted to, bringing relatives of migrants into these kind of games. It's been happening since I returned to Guatemala, and they walked past close to me saying, these kind of guys were like their appearance was like they are intellectual, but they're kind of uh, gossip. They're like trying to check what you're doing, everything you do. I remember they used to walk past in front of me or beside me, saying, well, hopefully this year Guatemala will go to a World Cup. You see, it's kind of people who are part of that game. I can believe that they used that kind of witchcraft to get a gay man to check out their legs. But I can't believe they didn't use that witchcraft to go through everything you go through when you are at the Mexico-U.S. border. These kind of guys, yeah, they're always using like this kind of witchcraft or stuff like that. They so that you can check their legs, uh, so that you check their legs. They have most of the times a girlfriend or a wife. So that's the truth. That's the truth. I'm not making anything up, and they know that. Because I realized when I came back to Guatemala that they used to walk past in front of me when I'm talking to someone just to make me feel ashamed of that. That's how I know. So I'm not making this kind of comments to speak ill of my country, but simply to let the truth to be known about these games they play with relatives of migrants. And then even because of this witchcraft, they play they try to make it look like they're interested in you sometimes. But what they really try to do is to make you feel ashamed of them. I think that if you believe you have talent, you should achieve things for yourself and not involve unknown people, strangers. In the games for foreign recognition. Well, I'm not having a job stability after spending so many years without being able to continue studying. And by the way, seems like this witchcraft they used on me, uh, they used it too with Guatemalan soccer players. Seems like that's what they did because when they were at the very top of their career, they had problems with alcoholism. That's the truth. So I'm telling the truth. This is what's happening. And by the way, I want to make it clear because I don't remember if it's the Spanish version of this audio, but they were making noises, and that's something that they have been doing ever since I returned to Guatemala. They're making noises with their cars and their motorcycles around the place where I live. There's, I'm about to talk about that place because I want to wash my hands off from this all this situation. Yeah, but I still didn't have the time today to record that audio because it's a long audio. I provide a lot of details about it. So I want to say it clear. If you want to go to the US, you can go apply for an American visa, but believe me, immigration, that you've known that people come and take you to the US, that's not a patrimony, and we don't have, at least me, as a former migrant and a migrant's relative, I don't have any obligation with you people. If you decided to bring children to this world, that's your responsibility, not mine. I don't have any obligation with that. And I'm making it clear because I'm tired of this game. And besides of that, it's been 4 years that I have been in this stupid game. I'm not interested in having any American papers. So you got me into this game knowing about the recognition, the foreign recognition you were gonna get. I didn't want to believe it when they told me about it. When they made threats of me, they made threats of death to me in Tijuana. But after, when I came back to Guatemala, when I returned to Guatemala, everybody was acting strange, like you were not welcome in your country of origin. So, and I started saying things like they were winning golden medals and stuff like that. So, I'm recording all of this to put an end to all this situation. Turns out that they are now winning soccer matches, is something that we didn't see before here in Guatemala. I'm talking as Guatemalan, so that's the truth. And I want to make it public because you're trying to take advantage of this game. Or I don't know if it was Mexicans or Guatemalans because they did. Migrants' relatives. And I can believe it. You people are trying to use it. Just a second because I want to make it sound clear. So, you people caused the death of migrants' relatives. I don't know if those were Mexicans or Guatemalans, but they were trying to take advantage of that situation to win a foreign recognition. So that's why I'm making it public. I'm struggling to have working stability. Sometimes I don't get the full payment that I should be getting according to the law. Sometimes when it comes to the severance, they don't pay me the full amount of money I should get. Hmm? I don't know how she understands what I'm saying. That's why she's laughing. She's indigenous. That's why I'm making it clearer because I don't want to say it was a Guatemalan, but what Guatemalan? At least you could say their ethnicity. So